In this video, let's take a look at the batch processor that can be found under the window menu. Now, with the batch processor, it allows you to take multiple files, apply a module chain to it with a selection of modules, and then output them to a specific format. And this is all done with one simple click. So you can think of this as an extension of the module chain that I showed you in the last video. So let's start off over here where I'll add a selection of files, then we'll build up a module chain, and then I'll show you how to set up the output. You can either drag files from your file system to here, or you can click Add Files and navigate your system to the files that you want to bring in. I've got these files over here that I'm going to bring in. So here it shows you them in the list. Under the input, you can see the name of each file. Then you can see if it's either a mono or stereo configuration, the bit depth, the sample rate, and then the length of each file. If you want to remove a file, you can just click this cross over here to remove it from the list. Then next we go into the module chain. This covers the exact same things that were covered in the module chain in the last video. You can select a preset over here, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to build up a very simple module chain. Let's say with all these files, I want to gain them up by 3 dB. So I've got a gain set to 3 dB. Then after this, let's say I want to normalize the files. So just double checking the settings, I want to normalize all the files to 0 dB. And let's just add one more module, just so we've got 3 modules within this chain. How about we go to the EQ, and on all these tracks, I want to do a low cut. So I'm going to just go back to the default settings. As you can see, that had a preset that was already loaded up. All I want to do is enable the high pass and have a high pass filter happening on all the files. And I can change the chaining order. So I'm going to have the EQ, then the gain, and then the normalize. Now moving on to the output, I can click here to choose the output location and format of the files. For the location, I've already created a folder. So under rendered, I want to make these all WAV files. So that'll be my one location. So you can select the type of format that you want to use here. First, I want to do an output of an uncompressed WAV file, and then set a different output for a compressed MP3 file. For the bit depth, I'm going to set them all to 16-bit. As you can see, I've got different selections of sample rates through the files, but I want them all to be 16-bit. And then I can apply some dithering. I don't want to preserve the non-audio data, that's fine. Then I can add an extension to the file name. So it'll have the file name, and then I want it to say rendered WAV. So I know it's the rendered WAV file. Then for the second output, let's make this a compressed MP3 format. I'll change the quality to the highest bit rate. And then for the bitrate control, this can be a variable bitrate. And the same, I can give it a name. So this will be rendered MP3. And just note that this is going to the same location. So I'm going to click here to change the location, go back to my rendered folder, and choose MP3. Now, when I've finished setting up everything for my batch process, all I need to do is click Process, and it's going to process all these files with this module chain and output them to these 2 different locations. Check this out. I'm going to run it here. So that was pretty fast. So it took all these files, processed them with the module chain, and now if I navigate to these locations, here you can see in my render folder, I've got the WAV folder. Here are my files that have all been rendered out with that module chain and the output setting, and the same with the MP3. And as you can see, it's added that appended name to each file. So if I had them all going to one file, I could easily see which were the WAV files and which were the MP3s. So that in a nutshell covers how to use this batch processor. Really a handy tool if you're taking multiple files. You could maybe have hundreds of files and you want to process them with a specific module. Instead of having to do that to each file, rather use the batch processor to simplify the whole process for you. Catch you in the next video.